Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Found. Previously, when we were reading, Chip and Catherine have been calling the people on the list, the witnesses and the survivors. They're having some luck with some people talking to him, some not so much. But Chip has just told everybody, or told Jonah, that he has called 17 survivors, and all 17 of them have received letters, and they're all adopted. That's where we're going to pick up. And Chip continued, every single survivor I talked to is adopted, just like us. All of them are 13 years old or are turning 13 years old sometime in the next month. They all have fall birthdays. Every one of them was 3 months old when they were adopted. Just like me, Jonah thought. What are they, clones? He asked sarcastically. Did you ask to check their DNA? Jonah, 8 of them are girls. 3 of them are Asian. 2 of them are black. We're not clones. Jonah decided to stop making jokes. I haven't even told you the weirdest thing, Chip said. Everyone lives here, in Liston or Upper Tyson or Clarksville. Upper Tyson and Clarksville were the 2 next closest suburbs. So, Jonah challenged, how is that weird? Maybe this is just the territory that FBI went to. Chip shook his head. Most of the kids were adopted in other places, like me. Chip said, but even the ones that used to live somewhere else, they've all moved here. All within the past 6 months. That's 12 of us moving here since June. Jonah had chills suddenly, and then he thought of something. Wait a minute, let me see that list again. Chip pulled the paper back out of his pocket. Jonah yanked out of his friend's hand and stabbed a finger at one line of print. See, this person you were asking me about before, that's an address in Ann Arbor, Michigan, he said triumphantly. That's miles away. A whole different state. I mean, maybe it's just a coincidence that Catherine got the complete information on people who live close by. No, wait, see, look, here's somebody in Winnetka, Illinois. So there are at least 2 people who live somewhere else. Jonah, that's me from Illinois, Chip said. I'm on the list twice because my new address and my old address are both on the list, just like I got 2 copies of those weird letters. His voice faltered. Oh, I see. What? Jonah said. He thought of something new, too. You think the FBI sent us the letters? No, I don't know, Chip said distractedly, but this person in Ann Arbor, it's a girl, and her name's Daniela McCarthy. The only thing Jonah could see above the address is 103 Destin Court, Ann Arbor, Michigan. It was a little line right above the T of court. It might have been the loop at the Y or the end of McCarthy, or it might have been a wrinkle on the paper magnified and darkened by camera. How do you figure that? Jonah asked. Well, I'll bet you anything it's the same girl down here. The one at 1873 Robin's Egg Lane, Chip said. And I bet there's a Robin's Egg Lane on Liston or Upper Tyson or Clarksville. That's the pattern on the entire list. Old address, new address. I bet if I call this Ann Arbor number, I'll get one of those messages, do. The number you're calling's been changed. The new number is. He made his voice sound robotic, just like a computerized phone message. Now he slipped back into his usual voice. Look, I'll prove it. He pulled his cell phone out of his backpack and began dialing. Chip, just do that later. The bus is coming, Jonah said, because he could see the headlights swinging around the corner. This is only going to take a moment. I'm going to get a machine. Chip said, do you have anything to write with? Jonah fished a pen out of his backpack, and Chip held up his left palm. I'll repeat the number back to you, and you just write it on my hand, Chip said. Chip was talking when the phone clicked. Jonah was close enough to hear, and a decidedly non-computer voice said, hello? It sounded like a girl. Hello, Chip said awkwardly. Daniela? Yes? She sounded impatient. Do you still live in Ann Arbor? Where else would I live? Like maybe in Liston, Ohio, or maybe Upper Tyson or Clarksville. I guess that's not as likely. Are you sure you aren't moving or planning to move or in the process of moving? No, the girl said in a tone that was very clearly, that is a stupid question. Hey, are the 2 of you going to school today? The bus driver yelled down. Jonah realized that the bus had arrived and almost everybody had climbed on but them. He jerked on Chip's arm, pulling him towards the bus. Oh, sorry, Chip was saying into the phone. I think I had some bad information. You don't have another, address on Robin's Egg Lane in another city? Jonah couldn't hear what the girl was saying in reply because they were stumbling up the stairs. But a moment later, as they shoved their way down the aisle, Chip pleaded, No, wait, don't hang up. Are you adopted? Great pickup line, dude, an 8th grader muttered from his seat. Chip lowered the phone from his ear. Let me guess, she hung up on you? Jonah asked. Chip nodded. Both of them plopped in their seat as the bus pulled away from the curb. Wow, you have a way with girls, Jonah said wisecrackingly. Chip shook his head. No, I don't understand. This doesn't fit the pattern at all. I mean, now she's all mad at me. I mean, just for asking. Really, I did a much better job with the other calls, just so you know, or Catherine, I had Catherine make them. So why don't you just have Daniela call this Catherine call this Daniela back tonight and ask things the right way, Jonah asked. No, you don't understand, Chip said. I just want to know everything now. Chip slumped in his seat, staring at the cell phone as if it had betrayed him. He looked so miserable that Jonah felt obligated to cheer him up. Hey, Jonah said, jostling Chip's arm. You and Catherine have been hanging out together a lot. Do you still have a crush on her? It was strange talking about how Chip liking Catherine had become one of the safe topics. I can't think about crushes and girls and anything like that right now, Chip mumbled. Not when I don't even know who I am. You are Chip Winston, Jonah said firmly. He felt like he was replaying the conversation he had with Catherine the night he got the second letter. Except he was taking the Catherine role. Chip didn't answer right away. Jonah wondered if he even heard him, and then so softly that Jonah had to lean in to hear him, Chip whispered, Can I tell you something? Even before I found out I was adopted, even before I knew that Mom and Dad were not my real parents, biological parents, I mean, I always felt like there was something wrong with me, something different, like I wasn't who I was supposed to be, like I never belonged, not here, not back in, Ohio, not anywhere. Jonah leaned away, squinted at Chip in distress. Kids weren't supposed to say stuff like that to other kids. What if somebody else heard them? Jonah looked around. Marcus Gladstone was drumming his fingers on the seat in front of him. Owen Rogers was doing his math homework, muttering, come on, multiply both sides by 12, carry the 4. Queen Jackson was telling Neela Holcomb, that boy is bad news. Jonah was pretty sure she wasn't talking about him or Chip. Chip had not even looked up. He was still talking, his eyes trained on the back of the seat in front of him. And it seems like this whole adoption thing, maybe that's my answer. Maybe once I find out everything and get an explanation, then I'll just know. Jonah shoved his shoulder against Chip's. Hey, he interrupted harshly, stop that. He tried to remember the argument that Catherine had used on him. Weren't you paying attention in that guidance assembly the other day? All teenagers wonder who they are. It's part of growing up. Jonah could not believe he had just been forced to use a goofy line, and now he was embarrassed for himself as he was for Chip. He hoped no one else had heard him. I think this is different, Chip said quietly. He paused as if to give Jonah a chance to say, I know what you mean, or to admit, you're totally right, I felt the same way, not since I turned 13. But when Jonah didn't say anything, Chip just went on. And don't you see? This is big. All these kids, the FBI, the ghosts. But it doesn't make any sense, Jonah said. I'm working on a theory, Chip said. He held up his cell phone until our friend Daniela messed everything up. What was your theory? But before Chip could answer, the phone in his hand began to ring, blaring a Fall Out Boy tune. Quickly, Chip flipped it open and looked at the number. 734 area code. Wait a minute, is that? He raised the phone to his ear. Daniela? Who are you? Daniela was evidently shouting, because this time Jonah didn't have to lean in to hear every word she was saying. How did you know? Chip moved the phone away from his ear, gave it a baffled look, and placed it back. What are you talking about? He asked. We are moving, Daniela screamed. Her voice blared from the phone. This is so awful. My life is over. Wait, I thought you just told me you weren't moving, Chip said cautiously. I didn't know we were moving. From the way her voice sounded, Jonah suspected that Daniela was about to cry. My dad made this big family announcement at breakfast. He's taking a job transfer, and that little getaway that my parents were actually on was actually a house hunting trip. They're going to make an offer on a house today. Who are you? Are you the realtor's kid? No, Chip said. Actually, but Daniela didn't even seem to hear him. She said, that wasn't funny at all. If this is your idea of a prank, she fumed, are you trying to talk me into thinking that I'm going to like this house? Because I won't like it. My parents say it's wonderful. She made wonderful sound like something evil, by the way. I bet this place is a pit. Hold on, Jonah said, trying to catch up with Daniela's fury by phone. Are you saying that your parents are making an offer on the house today? Like they don't own the house already? Chip squinted in puzzlement. Are you talking about a house on Robin's Egg Lane? Chip said into the phone. He struggled to pull out the survivors list from his pocket, unfold it, and find the right number. 1873 Robin's Egg Lane in Liston, Ohio? Yes, that's what you told me, right? That's what you asked about. Mom and Dad saw that house yesterday and fell in love with it, she said. She twisted the words bitterly so it sounded like they'd fallen in love with something from Hades. Jonah leaned in closer. You say they saw the house yesterday for the very first time? Yes, Danielle said, yesterday for the very first time. And just like that, they're going to try to buy it today. Just like they're having a midlife crisis. They're insane. Why do they have to ruin my life? Now Jonah was positive she was crying, because her words were dissolving into wails. I hate Ohio. I'm going to be miserable there. I can't talk anymore. I'm too upset. And the next thing Jonah heard was a dial tone. Chip lowered the phone from his ear. She'll call back, she said confidently. She didn't give me a chance to answer her questions. Yeah, but she answered all of ours, Jonah said. Not that she let us ask, Chip snorted. I need to know if she's adopted still and if she's got the same kind of letters and if she knows what we all survived. Chip seemed to be working on some sort of checklist. Chip, don't you get it? The questions don't matter, Jonah said. He eased the list out of Chip's hand. I got this list 3 days ago, with Danielle McCarthy's address on Robin's Egg Lane. Her parents hadn't even seen the house yet. They didn't see it till yesterday, 2 days after I got it. They haven't made an offer yet. It's going to be today. So how did the FBI know the future? Well, they couldn't have, Chip said. Seconds passed while both of them stared hard at the list, a 3-day-old list from the FBI that contained information that nobody should have been able to know until today. Jonah knew they were almost at school and that the bus around them was filled with kids that were laughing and flirting and teasing and griping here and there, but Jonah couldn't focus on anything except for that survivors list. That and Chip's voice saying, Unless what? Jonah asked. Chip said, unless they are the ones who are making her move. We're going to stop there.